Genius supplies.
Game night!
Good evening. I think you'll all agree that this Alfred Hitchcock impression sounds more like Lorne Michaels. It's pretty bad. But join Nikki, Lincoln, Mike, and myself, Dave, as we teach and play Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window, a game for 3 to 5 players, published by Funko Games and designed by Prospero Hall. So come join us, will you, and see if tonight's game includes a murder.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Lincoln.
Can we watch Rear Window?
After we play Rear Window,
Oh, okay,
if you
cool.
want. Rear Window is a most of the time cooperative game, but not necessarily, in which one person plays the director and has the information that the other players are essentially trying to guess. All right? The game comes with this handy little tray into which there are 21 attributes, 14 sort of basic attributes, which we have laid out over here, and I also have over here. There are these 6 sort of advanced level attributes, which we're not playing with, and then there's a murderer is also an attribute that's in the game. All right? We're going to basically randomly choose 4 attributes from that batch in a setup phase. And then from those random attributes, I will then put them, I'm going to randomly choose them over here. I'm going to put them in this little board along with 4 random characters in these character slots, and go ahead and turn over day 1. Everything else, by the way, that doesn't get used will go in this little trunk where you sort of keep everything you don't need anymore.
Yes, we can't see like what maybe figure out some of the things that aren't in the game because they're you see them there.
And then you'll see that my little director board here matches the middle of this apartment window. Basically, you guys are trying to figure out who lives in apartments A, B, C, and D, and what their attribute is. Okay? And the way you're going to do that is the director has 8 of these cards. And every round, each day is a round, and the game takes place in 4 rounds maximum. It can end before then, and I'm going to place these 8 cards, and I will just place them in an apartment. So I could place this card here, and that might mean that this is Miss Lonely Hearts, and that might mean that Miss Lonely Hearts is in that apartment, or I could be playing this card for the sewing, or for the flowers, or for the picture on the wall. There are cards that sort of look like this, that just have stuff. Like, it's sort of like Mysterium or other games like that, where you're trying to sort of figure out, like, why did he play that card, right? I could play this card because it's Miss Lonely Hearts, or because she has wine and her attribute, the attribute for that apartment is the drunk.
Makes sense.
Okay?
Okay.
The director is also allowed to do 2 extra things to help their cause. One, the director can play up to 2 cards face down instead of face up. Okay. Right? In the fully cooperative game, that could be because I am trying to not mislead you. And in the, which I'll explain, if a murderer is in the game is not as cooperative. I might be trying to mislead you.
Okay.
All right? And the other thing that the director can do is the director has these 3 cut tokens. And 3 times during the game, the director can throw one out and discard any number of cards from their hand and draw back up. So if the director needs better cards, that's one way to do it, but you have 3 times to do that during the entire game. All right?
Okay.
Okay. Once the director has laid out 8 cards, all 8 of their cards from their hand. That's the other thing. You have 8 cards in your hand, you have to play them all. So obviously some of them are not going to be as helpful as they could be.
Those might be the ones you place face down, as you
Maybe.
said.
Once that happens, then the watchers, you guys, are going to basically place tokens in those spots. You're going to place 4 residents in the resident spot, and you're going to place 4 attributes in the attribute spot. You're going to talk about what you think, what means what, and whatever. And then when you have come to a consensus, I'm going to tell you how many of those you got right. Hey, you got 3 right. I'm not telling you which ones you got right, just how many you have right.
Okay, and we only get 1 guess per day, Dave?
Yes.
Oh, that's hard.
Well, you're just going to fill it. You're just going to fill it.
But you're only going to tell us one thing, then we move on to day 2.
Correct. Then you move to day 2, we flip that over, and we do the same thing.
Okay.
We basically keep doing that until the victory conditions are met. All right. For the cooperative game, where there is no murderer, we all win together if you guys can get all 8. All right. And we have 4 days to do that, and it can happen before then. In the non-cooperative game, if there is I'll get to that later. If there's a murderer present, there's different victory conditions. Let me explain more of the basic game till we get there. Okay,
sure.
So the directors, extra things that they can do are placing cards face down and getting more cards. You have extra things that you can do as watchers. You have these 4 characters.
Okay.
All right.
So the first one's name, this is Lisa Fremont.
So Lisa, these are one-time use for the whole game. And Lisa Fremont, if you're playing Lisa Fremont, you basically then give the director this arrow, and the director says, hey, this was what I wanted you to see on this card.
Okay.
Hey, it wasn't Miss Lonely Hearts or the glass of wine. It was the candle for some reason. I don't know why, but it was.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. Next one is Detective Lieutenant Tom Doyle.
So you can't play that till day 2 because when you use that character, you are going to point to either one of the residents or one of the attributes from an earlier day in the game. And I'm going to tell you straight up yes or no if it's correct.
Okay.
Yes if it is and no if it isn't.
Okay.
All right? Thelma Ritter's character,
Stella McGaffrey,
allows you to pick a day with face down cards. Does it say previous day?
Just says choose a
Any
day.
day.
Any day. Pick any day that has face down cards, and then you're allowed to look at them. You don't have to memorize them, so at any point during the game you can go back and look at those face down cards if you want. And then finally, L.B. Jeffries, all right? This is choosing a face down card on the current day. And you are going to pick that card, and then the director that card will go out of the game, and then the director can replace that card from a new card from his hand. When the director places all 8 cards for the day, he'll draw 8 more and have them. So the director can replace that face down card with another face down card if they want. All right. And the reason the director might want to do that is, let's now get to the murderer. So if one of the attributes is the murderer and it comes up, the director does not let the watchers know that has happened, and we are now playing a non-cooperative game. We are now playing the director versus all the other players.
Okay.
All right? The players on day 4, you have to wait until day 4 before you can guess murderer. So the players on day 4 will lay out the characters, the attributes, and if they think the murderer is one of them, they will put out murderer as an attribute. All right? And the players will win that game if they correctly guess the murderer, all right, and get essentially 7 or 8 attributes correct, which is to say the murderer plus 6 or 7 other attributes. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. The director wins the game if the players do not correctly guess the murderer, but they still have to get 6 or 7 other attributes correctly. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yep.
If they get fewer than 6 attributes correctly, regardless, neither side wins. Everybody loses.
Okay.
We all lose.
Right.
Okay.
So there's no guaranteed winner, regardless of if the game is asymmetric or not, whether it's fully cooperative or not.
Okay.
All right.
So Dave, in a fully cooperative game, how do you win?
If all 8, you have to get all 8.
Okay.
We have to all get 8 by the end of day 4. That can happen before day 4.
if we're really good at this game. I think it might be day 4.
That's if there's no murderer in
Correct.
the game. Okay.
Correct. Okay, 2 more things. The first is that if there is a murderer, as the director, I am not allowed to lie with the cop. I have to give you a correct yes or no.
Okay.
But I am allowed to lie with Grace Kelly.
Lisa Fremont.
Okay.
Yeah, I am allowed to point that little arrow pointer to something that is incorrect.
Looks like they only really got likeness rights for these two, because these two don't quite look. I mean, that's definitely not Tom, whatever his name was. I can't remember if that.
Okay.
And that's definitely not Thelma Ritter.
And then the other thing that I want to mention is that you don't ever play with all of these attributes to start with. The setup is you're going to pick 12 of them, plus the murderer, and then shuffle them up.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
So
12 out of 14.
well, out of 20, right? Because we're not using the
right.
we're not using the specials, which I'll explain at the end. So let's get rid of Trey Chic, let's say, and let's get rid of I don't know. You pick one. Which one do you want to get rid of?
Why'd you have to kill him? He loved you all.
I would say let's pick the Virtuoso.
Get rid of the Virtuoso?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of these other ones look great.
Okay, so those 2 are out of the game.
Oh, here. You
Those
can
can
put
go
them
back
in
in
the
their
tray.
thing. Right, so I'm picking 4 tiles out of 13, and I believe the math works out to that the murderer is there about 30-ish% of the time, something like that. So
Okay.
less than a third of the time. Oh,
He's the thief. He's trying to escape already.
the upside down one. All right, let me do this behind the screen. Oh, hey, speaking of screens, while I'm remembering, you guys aren't playing with it because I don't think you'll need it, but the game comes with a player screen, and the back of the player screen has all this iconography on it specifically so that, I mean, the game suggests that all the watchers are on one side of the table and the director's on the other side of the table. This is in case you think there's a murderer and you don't want to discuss out loud what you're doing. You could go,
Yeah. Good.
you can like point to
Okay.
stuff and
All right.
Great game component. That's really smart.
yeah. Okay. All right.
Are you the murderer?
I mean, I don't know. I think I'm one of these 4 people. I'm not necessarily L.B. Jeffries, but
Okay.
or Detective Tom Dooley or Lisa Fremont or Stella McGaffrey.
Don't look over here.
We're
Okay, I'm not
we're
looking.
Well, I
looking over
figured
there.
My hair kind of blocks that.
My
side
hair.
Anyways.
Yeah.
For purposes of people who want to play at home, if you don't look, if you don't want to see this, but you guys close your eyes just for a second.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to move this over here so people can see what the setup is. Okay. Now I will do this. All right, I'm going to draw 8 cards, and let me put this over here. I don't know if I showed this before. This is the little Gamegenic card.
It's from the Watchtower. Yeah, it's one of the drawers in the Watchtower. It's cool.
Oh, that's a drawer?
Yeah, it's one of the drawers
Neat.
in the Watchtower.
Yeah, that's a nice
5,
card
6,
holder.
7, 8.
They're cool stuff.
All right. And away we go.
Gamegenic, ingenious supplies.
There's no rule, by the way, as to like the order I put cards down or what matters or in that regard. Wow. Okay, well, let's do this.
I need to put the Virtuoso back in.
This seems simple enough. Let's do this.
Miss Lonely Hearts.
This.
His
More
favorite
Miss
card
Lonely Hearts.
seems like to
Is that
me.
the same person?
Yes. Different.
Put
colors.
that up in apartment A, please, in either
Uh-oh,
window. It
Mr.
doesn't matter
Thorwald.
which.
It's Mr. Thorwald.
Put that also in apartment A, please.
What?
Is that Mrs. Thorwald?
I don't think so.
Wow. You know what? Cut. Already going to use one.
Okay.
Getting rid of these 4
Wow.
cards.
Okay.
It's okay. It's part of the game. That was better, Dave.
Okay. These 2 cards go in apartment C.
Sure.
And do that.
Okay. Isn't this?
It's all the same lady. I
Okay.
don't know.
Well, I think I have to assume that if they put the lady down here in B, that she is in B.
I mean, there's a lot of Miss Lonely Hearts there, and I think he had those very from the get-go. So
Correct.
we could.
I think we should start with that.
Yeah, we could do that. Mr. Thorwald. Don't have anything there.
So that's it.
This is. I mean, that's Mrs. Thorwald maybe leaving. Maybe. I mean, yeah, I don't know. There's a cop. There's some masks. Looks like comedy
They're
and tragedy.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that could be
I
a
thought they were
writer.
skulls initially. Like, hey, that's telling us a lot potentially.
Would that be the writer then? You gotta look at some of these attributes.
Yeah, it could be, but I mean, or is there a performer? Right, there might be
I don't see one.
the art connoisseur, the gourmand.
Unless it's the Globetrotter and she
Oh.
has the luggage.
Could be.
But I don't know what that is.
Yeah, the comedy tragedy. But
If
that
it's
may not
that-
be what he's talking about. Could
that
be
is-
something to do with
The
the cop.
cop and the.
So we think we could do the cop as a Globetrotter, right?
I mean, it can't hurt.
Yeah, I think we're a little blind the first guess.
Of course. I mean, there's only so much you're going to be able to glean.
Right. So let's.
Okay, and then now, I mean, this is Miss Lonely Hearts, and there's nothing else. He's got no other information for us.
What's on the table? Are those
It's
letters?
chocolates. The chocolates, and on the
Chocolates,
table it looks
okay.
like there's books or something, and then there's a sculpture with like it looks like a monkey on a horse. I don't know. If that's
I'm pretty sure it's not, but okay.
It does look
I
kind of like a
like
monkey.
that idea.
It's actually one of the. It's a
horse.
It's from no, but look at the little thing on the back there. It looks
I
like
think it's a person. I don't think it's a
it's
monkey.
you don't. But it's not like Planet of the Apes or something like that.
No, it does not look like Planet of
Okay.
the Apes to me.
Okay, let me look at that one more time. There's a box of chocolates. I mean, this is all Miss Lonely Hearts. I
It
mean,
is all Miss
thematically.
Lonely Hearts.
The problem is every card has that information, right?
Yeah.
Whether you need it or not.
Yeah.
It really does look like a monkey or something. I don't know. I guess it's a person. It looks like a tail, and I guess it's probably.
It's probably a guy in a coat.
Yeah,
you
it could be
know.
his tails.
Yeah.
Not a monkey tail.
Some military.
This one has barbells and books and.
Well, it's like it looks like it's kind of like Miss Torso, right? But
So why wouldn't this one? I would guess the athlete maybe at the start.
sure. But what are you doing with this here? I mean, look, he's looking at the jewels too. And there's the suitcase. Notice this. The suitcase is there. I mean, that's the movie. That's stuff from the movie. Whether that's actually part of the game. For us, I don't know.
This one has jewels. This suitcase. Is that a book? Is that a book?
I mean, he's looking at the jewelry out of it. It might be some sort of a a carrier, like a box for the necklace or something like that.
It's a purse.
It is her purse. Okay, yeah. In the movie,
So-
he's pulling her stuff out of the purse. And why would she have the stuff in her purse? So yeah, you can't read too much of the movie into this.
I know, but it's a purse.
Yeah, you're right.
Well,
Now, whether Dave saw that and was important
That's
to
a
him.
lot of detail.
I'm listening
know.
and paying attention because this is helpful for me, right? This
Okay.
discussion.
if you're not the murderer.
If there's not a
he's
murderer,
he's not the
well,
murderer. He's the
I'm
director.
never the murderer.
Right.
One of these 4 people might be.
Okay.
Where these poor people might be.
So my first thing is put him and the athlete as a start because I
Okay.
would rather try to choose some stuff and see
Yeah,
what we
that
get.
makes sense.
Because
alphabetical
I
here.
think we could be here for days,
I
and
know.
we don't know anything.
For Dave's, okay.
days for days.
Then what do we do here?
I agree with you that we have this and that. That's confusing. I agree.
I mean, but that was his second batch of cards for sure on that other one.
Right. So I still think I would start with that.
The gourmand,
Why
maybe.
not? Yeah, there's chocolates. Why not?
Well, I mean here, but or here.
Well,
She's just drinking wine.
That's chocolates.
Yeah. Okay. Then let's say she's the drunk over here, maybe.
Why not? Let's give it a shot.
But she's sewing.
Sewing?
oh well, then
I don't know
what do we
about
have
that.
on sewing? We have the thief, the animal lover.
Well,
the
she's the
athlete.
heartbroken in the character.
There are roses though, so it could be gardener.
Why not? Yeah, let's do gardener.
But I don't know what that would do with the first card then.
Her.
Well,
right?
yeah, it could be her, right? I'm not sure that he's doing left to right, but it'd be pretty fantastic if he was. So we're saying we think it's the gardener? Okay, let's go
I
for that.
think.
Okay, now we need a guess here.
Yeah, that I don't know.
I think it's gonna be random.
Because he probably didn't have that information.
What about Miss Thorwald?
Is she actually in here?
Thorwald.
Oh, that is. She's here, huh? Interesting.
There.
I would rather pick something that isn't on one of the colors.
Well, if he's just doing this kind of a thing, right? Just to figure it out, like that these are the cards that help you identify the people.
right, so it should not be yellow.
Probably.
Let's pick a different color for the first round.
Well, I was just trying to think of the, like a pretty lady that's getting gifts.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, let's just pick one of them and put it in there, and we'll finish for the day, right? I mean.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Good.
All right.
let's go.
Those are your choices?
Yep.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
2.
All right.
Just two.
We
Day
got
2.
Two
Day
of them
two.
correct.
We
You got 2 correct.
Ooh, different.
Okay.
I like the blue.
Okay, so let's see. That's going to go face down.
Just two.
So do you think that means we got it right?
That goes face up.
I don't know. We're have to look at. Is that the same guy?
That goes face
No, it's-
down.
A piano player.
That goes face up.
The virtuoso that we got rid of.
These both go face up here. And these both go face up here.
Is that paper or money at the top? Yeah, at his feet.
As I drop the card.
Or something else completely. A
It
rug.
looks like a broken vase with flowers. He threw something maybe against the wall.
It does look like you've had a fight or something like that.
Yes.
Oh, he's yelling. From here, it looked like he was like running away from the piano. Like,
Right.
so, okay, so anger.
So I mean,
okay.
does this mean to
sorry.
you guys? I mean, we only got 2 right? So maybe he's telling us this and this are correct. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing changed on these. I mean, they're just flipped. There's no additional information.
I'm okay with that, especially as there's a yellow here, and maybe we were looking at the wrong thing over here.
Right, but
So I'm okay with that choice.
Okay.
To start with.
so he didn't get it with the athlete. Was it?
Well, her background's yellow, so if yellow's the what's happening.
That's why I'm thinking that this is now yellow. Correct.
There's a dog there too. We'll go ahead and try
Well,
that. Then let's put the
There's
yellow.
dogs on both of these.
Yeah, there's a animal lover. There you go.
Yeah,
Boom.
That's
Okay.
what I would do. Animal lover, yellow.
Yellow?
Yes,
Okay.
please. Dave.
Well,
Come on, Dave.
I like
You got-
this. I
you
really like
is
this
it like
game.
how we're trying to figure this stuff out?
I love this game.
Okay.
It's like any of these games, right?
Yeah.
It's fun to listen to people just throw stuff out.
So let's go on.
Is that the cineast?
So I'm going to say this. So this one has a
Projector.
movie projector, has a typewriter, has a luggage, I guess, to sit on, and then it has some awards up here. Those are the awards?
Could be the writer. What was that? That was.
Yeah, the writer.
I know, but what would that? Why would you think? I mean,
Well,
I might have been just what he had.
I go back to what you said, that emphasizing her in the first round one, and now he's saying, yes, you were right, go do something else.
Right. The animal lover were probably wrong. Except they were on both cards.
art connoisseur? Okay, writer.
Oh.
I'm just saying
how would-
because there's writing, there's awards, and there's a projector.
So you're saying that it's...
Is this guy the klutz? I don't know if that's really the case, but he does look angry, but
Yeah, could be close.
I mean,
And maybe. Okay, so we're not sure about the writer. I'll move this one over here till we figure that one out. Okay, let's look at this one again and start with this one.
there's broken stuff there.
Right.
He's yelling. He could be a drunk.
Could be drunk. The klutz is not a bad idea too. Right.
Right. Let's try that. You want to try it, Nikki P?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay, so this one we have a choice between the writer and the art connoisseur because of the awards. I mean, look at.
Well, I mean, it is more than one thing. The writer, I mean, that seems like that's what it is.
Yeah. There's a painting here on her wall, though.
Right.
If we're sticking with these as clues,
Right. Well, then let's try that.
Okay, I'm okay with that. Here, I'll put this.
I mean, we only had 2, so we got a lot of room for
A lot of room for
improvement.
improvement. Okay.
By the way, I'm going to use one of my cut tokens while you guys are doing this.
Okay.
And get rid of 4 cards.
Okay, so the one on the left has 2 women in the background giving handshaking. In the front, there's 2 martini glasses, and then
It's
there's
jewelry, isn't it?
Yeah, well, 2 martini glasses.
But I
and
mean, in that case.
yes, it's jewelry in that case.
oh man,
And this one has a guy saying hi.
Yeah, look at the
co-
food there, though.
Right, there's some cop, right,
A
blue,
pair,
and then
yeah.
there's a pie.
Yeah, could be the gourmand.
Who likes
Friends.
pie?
Except we already.
I like
this
pie.
is the gourmand zone, and if we had gotten that right, he might have left the food one backside up. So I don't think we had that right.
Okay.
But we don't have any idea who the person is.
So I think we should pick a different person for sure.
Right.
So the red lady?
Well.
Or do we do the cop?
Oh. Well, the cop's here, right? It could totally be. Let's just do that. See what we get here. Now, what would if we were to use one of these roles, what would that give us? What would we be getting that would be helpful?
Well, on
Like
one-
to ask Dave what we're looking for, or
Well, I think so. For this one, it's
if
what
it'll tell you what's important about that card.
right, and I don't know enough about
Right.
where we're at on that one.
Right.
This one is we got to go back and say which one's yes or no, which we kind of do now. I think we should save that for either day 3
Sure.
or day 4.
Like when we're desperate to find out some
Yeah.
information.
And I think the other two are not so good right now. Like if we look face down on these 2, I'm not sure it's going to help us.
Right.
And the other one just refreshes. I think Dave cut on
Twice now.
Twice, right? So that means
But that's him setting up for the next round. He didn't cut on this one.
yeah, did he cut on this one, or did he cut on this one?
He
Well,
cut on-
Dave,
I
you
cut on the very beginning. I only
Okay.
have 3 of these tokens. I
so you
got
cut
I got
he-
one left.
So you cut here, and you're gonna probably cut on day 3.
He did cut on day 3.
I did use it. It's nice that I have this time to kind of
Sure.
preset. And what's fun is I've moved stuff around a couple of times
Based on what we've said.
listening to it. Yeah, it's really been fun.
Okay, so
So either it's jewelry, wine, or pie, and that could be the gourmand because
well, we did the gourmand, and we only got 2 things right. If
Okay.
these were the correct,
right, we would say
Then-
the gourmand is not correct.
correct. But I mean, that could be the correct thing. It's the second time that we've had it in a row. That might have been what was correct. What are you thinking, Nick?
I am not. That one is confusing to me. I mean, it's probably is the gourmand, but it's a different character.
Maybe. But then what was this, right? He didn't have us change any information on that.
We think,
Yeah, I mean, that's
and he placed it here, so we're assuming these are right. Maybe
yeah. I mean, it could be a big fat silly assumption, but
if we're not going to choose the gourmand, I think we should choose the thief because you're going to steal some pie
Oh, I
and
see.
you're going to steal some
pie.
jewelry.
You're gonna
because it was
steal
like
pie.
they put the pie on the windowsill and somebody stole
Listen,
it.
I'm stretching here, and if it's not the gourmand, I would rather try something.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, this is hard. This is not
Yeah.
easy.
Is that your thing?
Yeah,
That's
let's
our
go for it.
thing.
That is
Okay.
that is our
Let's
inquiry
just hope
on
the
day
number
2.
went up. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
4.
Oh, well, we got twice as much information. Okay, day 3.
Day 3. Here we
Okay.
Let's see what we got.
go. Okay.
Uh-oh, what?
It means we probably got it
I
right.
see.
Have none of that
No.
right. So there we go.
He's not happy about that one.
Boo. What did we do wrong there?
I don't know, but
Hey,
we'll figure it
look.
out.
Maybe didn't have a good card for that and that we should have stuck with it. But then it's not the gardener. That wasn't it. So all of these are reset.
That's a mess.
Well, it does show her now.
So we have 4.
And maybe he just wanted to accentuate that that's her since we weren't certain, since it was just a yellow background.
I think we need to keep going, like it builds on top of each other.
Right.
Okay, I want to point out though that this
Yes.
has suitcases and an airplane in this background picture. Okay,
So let's travel.
so but is that travel to you? Is that travel to you?
Well,
You're showing your home movies, right? On my vacation, yes.
I caught this fish.
And you wrote about it in your thing, and I won this award
You
on it.
wrote letters and yeah.
It's not a bad idea. So,
Globetrotter back over there. We didn't have that before.
No,
so,
we want
so,
to.
so let's. I think we should, unless we're not sure at all, we should decide what we think today might be, and then come back and double check. I like orange and traveler on that one, and then we think
Orange?
Right.
The orange lady.
Orange lady.
Okay. Wow. Well, then why wouldn't he put it in this position since he was discussing us making the decision that this was what those were?
Maybe he never had orange there. I mean, I think that's. I guess we were looking at something else.
Right. But I feel like he would have. I mean, it was incorrect. We didn't get this, probably didn't get this right. But
Or he's the murderer now, and this is correct information, and this isn't.
well, he should already be the murderer,
Oh,
right? If
okay.
he's the murderer, it's
I
those
am
4
the
attributes
murderer.
are there.
Okay. Okay, so let's go back to what we think. Let's go back. So, let me look at this one. This one she is sculpting, or she's sculpting. There's a potted plant, and then there's a cat, and then there's a rack. There's a tennis ball with a racket.
Yeah. This was that was that lady, wasn't that what she was sculpting in the movie? Mm-hmm. So the art connoisseur here, maybe, and then her. Now, was there any kind of indication that that's art?
Well, so if we go back to here, he's pointing to this thing.
He's pointing at the painting.
Right. Why don't we try that? Right. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So we probably got this. Like we probably got this one right, and then we got this person right, but the item wrong, and so on and so forth.
Sure.
Okay.
I do like that. I didn't even see that was.
Are we?
pointing at that
Maybe
painting.
it's we use this guy, and we try to, and we point at something for Dave to tell us
Well-
which one of these is correct.
Well, if we go back to the 4, let's say it's pink. The guy, I'm going to get the Mr. Thorwald, right? So let's say it's Miss Lonely Hearts, Mr. Thorwald. He's the klutz, and it was Miss Thorwald here, and these 2 are wrong. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, which would be correct.
These 2 don't seem to work because we're pretty positive this is, and we don't want to look at the face down ones. I mean, we don't need to look at these face down ones.
I'm not sure if those 2 are going to help us yet.
And he's only for this day, the day you're on. She can go back.
Right, it discards. I think we're going to need to use Ms. L.B. Jeffries on day 4. I'm not sure how much helpful she's going to be at all.
Right. I think the top 2 are the ones we need to use if we're going to use them.
Right. Okay. So what do we need to know about? because
His baseball bat and broken flowers, and there's the family there, and they're upset. So what do we got here? This is, you thinking this is the World Traveler, Nikki P, or the Globetrotter?
Globetrotter, I was thinking.
and orange.
Do you think
And he
it's
wants, he's being very specific. He wants the orange lady, but I don't know if that really means that. It might be the pink lady is the Globetrotter.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm okay with that if we're not.
Because the pink's been correct, we think.
So put back the pink.
What do you say?
Sure.
Okay. So right now, if we have that, that would be 6. So let me look at this one again. Okay,
I don't know what's going on there. A birthday? I don't know.
Okay, so this one
It
has.
doesn't look like, she looks like she's upset.
She's upset. She's doing photographs. She's developing photographs, and there's a clock, and that's about it. There's
The fire escape couple.
there's something in there. It looks like books, but I can't tell.
They're the newlyweds, I thought, in the.
Well, if she's upset, maybe it's heartbroken.
No, they weren't the newlyweds, because the blinds are down on the newlyweds.
They would be heartbroken if this is their child died
Yeah.
kind of situation.
Wow, Nikki P. Okay. Do you want to go with that?
No, not
No.
yet. Now we gotta see, what do we want to confirm from one of these two?
What do you think we would get out of anything here? Do we want to?
Well, let's go back up. Let's go back up to here. So, if we said this was the art connoisseur and we had art, and this is art, do we want to validate that, or do you think we're good enough in a guess?
I feel like he's telling us that now. I mean, again, he's pointing at the art.
Okay. So
I don't feel we need to do that one.
Okay. And then on the Globetrotter, so let's back to the Globetrotter. So we think that there was only pink here and there was nothing here that helped with the Globetrotter.
Sure.
On this one, we're not sure at all.
Well, it could be, like you said, it's photos and showing you the videos
Right.
and stuff like that.
So I don't think...
I mean, it may be what he had. Now,
let's make the assumption that it's not pink. So should we ask for what he was looking for on this card or one of these two cards for this one? Because it has to be on a it's a choose a window card on any day.
well, I mean, you can ask specifically about that day. Is it the...
So he points to the thing that's broken. Do we assume it's heartbroken?
Well, what's going on here? That's the day that's the same thing that you said was a thief.
Because I was stealing.
I know. I'm with you. I didn't disagree with you on that. But I now want to know how does that connect to these choices here?
Well, it's wrong. That's what we're saying. You only had 4. We had 1, 2, 3.
I know,
4.
but what is in there that makes you think that this is accurate? Right. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so for the thief, I thought they had you take pie and they had the jewelry here, right? And it's not one of the other ones. Here, we thought heartbroken because she's upset, and we saw something.
Well, remember, these are related.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's should be something that's
okay.
We should see some connection potentially between them.
And
unless he's like taking a completely different.
And I don't know what that connection is. So
the connection is somebody didn't show up. Somebody did not come home.
Right, because they're not here.
They're not there.
Right.
She's got a party going here. There's food on the table. There's a pie up there, and the person didn't come home.
Okay. Heartbroken, but what else could it be then? Maybe it's just that. I mean, we were talking about a dead kid there a minute ago, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Someone didn't come home.
Okay.
I don't know. Her boyfriend, right? Men are. If you're gonna be base about it, it's a sport, so it's a dude. You know what I mean?
Okay, sure. She broke the flower pot with his baseball bat and threw the.
I'm so sad.
Some horrible accident has befallen her male companion.
I mean, it's consistently, I think. Well, he's just flipped them both over. I hope that we're correct on that. I mean, we could be completely wrong. Who knows?
We could put the arrow on her and be like, "Is this what we should be?"
I think you're
But
right.
I think it's the travel because there's suitcases and an airplane.
Okay, let's do that. We're going to use Lisa Fremont, and we're going to.
So what does it say on the thing?
says we need to choose a window on any day.
The director
Right.
places a pointer token on that card pointing to what they think is the most important feature.
Okay, so choose a window.
We're going to choose window D as in dog.
Which one? You have to choose a window.
Let's assume this is this. We have to choose that one. Because if it's, unless we want to guarantee, like let's say he points to this, then we know it's green. We didn't get any information.
Yeah, we didn't gain anything. Yeah,
Right.
I agree. I was
That's-
thinking
Okay,
that was the
so
card we
this
were
is the
talking-
window you're
yeah.
choosing?
Yes, we're going to choose that one.
Huh.
Photographer, that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Photographer.
Does that mean we change?
Is that what you're seeing? I can't even see it.
Yeah,
I thought
okay, so yeah.
So these are photography trays, not food.
Yeah,
So it's developer
yeah.
stuff.
She was developing pieces. She was developing
Okay.
photographs. Yes, change
Then
to
why not?
photographer. Absolutely.
Well, then should we just go with what we have then for the rest of it?
Yes, for day 3, I think so.
Okay.
This is what you're going with?
Yeah.
Yes.
Game over! Woo!
Wow. Wow.
Nice.
Gamegenic. Ingenious supplies.
You guys were dancing around. I'm like, don't third guess yourself out of your correct assumption.
Well, but you know what I was saying, right? That was
Right.
like, what are we seeing here that
Right.
translated there? And I was like, I don't,
Right.
wanting to make sure, but interesting.
Mike was like, okay, so if this is right and this is right and the klutz is right and this is, if we assume those are 4, and then I'm like, oh my God, they're going to talk themselves out of Miss Lonely Hearts down here? you came so close to doing it. This card was just, I had 3 bad cards, even
Yeah.
after
Okay.
whatever, so I had to put something there, and I just thought, well, it at least had a picture in it, even though it's art for photographer.
Okay. Now, did you?
I don't know. That
Were
one.
you using these to just indicate generally that we don't need to think about that anymore?
Yes, but and also they were bad cards. I mean,
Okay.
they were just not.
Right.
Right.
They were just cards that seemed like they'd be very misleading. God bless you, Nikki, for getting the airplane.
Yes.
The worst part.
You're the MVP.
The worst part was when you said you went, oh, they have luggage up here. That must be the Globetrotter. I'm like, oh, that was where I thought. Let me find some more luggage. Right. When I gave you those 2 cards and said those go in apartment
Yeah,
C,
you didn't. They
I
weren't.
didn't specify, and I realized I don't even think it's necessarily cheaty, but like if I had placed them the other way,
Right.
you would have probably assumed that Miss Thorwald was in that apartment.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. Because that's how they match. I'm assuming, we have to assume you are not playing the murderer until otherwise.
Right.
You're trying to help us, so it needs to be like that.
And then again, the closest thing I had, the only reason I put this card here is there's 2 people in it. That's the only thing I could do
Oh.
to indicate that this was
It's the only
But otherwise, it was just really hard.
couple.
D, there was no 2 people here.
I did
There's
not
nothing.
get this character card till round 3, even after using 2 of my
2
cut
of your
tokens.
cuts.
And I didn't want to waste another cut token early because I didn't know how far behind you may or may not be, right? Especially if you don't know if there's a murderer or not. How many times would you second guess yourself and talk yourself out of something, right?
Right.
Right. What did you think, Nick?
I enjoyed it. I like games like this. I like looking at the pictures and figuring out what the clue giver is trying to tell us, and analyzing everything. And
Definitely, there is a lot of great detail, in each of the cards for sure.
yeah, looking into the windows. That's an interesting aspect of the game, and that there's breaks. So it's
Yeah, the days.
you're not doing figuring out the whole thing in one go. There's this day, and then you can rearrange for the next day, and
Right.
Right.
it's cool. We didn't even have to go to day 4.
Yeah, I know. I'm shocked.
That first day is a little rough, though.
Oh yeah.
This
did
was
some
it,
guessing.
right? This
Right.
was
Some
it. That's one of the things we had correct, which is pretty impressive that we at least got that.
Well, I mean, obviously, I would assume 2 of the same character would give you that room.
For
right?
sure.
I figured I had 2 of those in my hand. I mean, I had 3 technically, right? I'm like, why don't I cement that now and not worry about the attribute there? and just, I mean, the first day is almost, you're going to probably just throw stuff down anyway.
Right.
To kind of see what sticks. Now, I didn't want to say this during the game. The reason that you might look at a face down card is if you looked at this face down card, then you would know that this room is not her.
Right. And
Doesn't mean you know that it's the couple, but you would know it's not Miss Torso.
Right. And,
So there is a reason to see a face down card if there's no murderer.
correct.
Okay.
And making sure that we interpret that correctly.
And just in case you turned that over, that is why I use that card face down, right? I tried to use, I mean, in this case, these face down cards were just bad cards, and you correctly interpreted my saying to you, hey, these are correct. But, and I didn't have anything, but in the one chance I had to use a face down card as possible future information for you guys, I did that.
Nice.
Just in case you looked there.
I think it's a great idea. It is in this example, it's hard because we had to interpret that we got them right, and going back again back to that second and third guessing. Let's not do that. Let's try to move ahead rather than.
But that's like any deduction game. You have to.
This was the first round, though.
You have to make some assumptions, right?
Yeah.
You have to make some assumptions in a deduction game, like, okay, well, if this is right, then can this work? And if this isn't right, can that not work? And again, you were great when you were like, okay, if these are the four.
Right. I think we need. Yeah. You also need to remind yourselves over and over again, because again, you only have numbers here. Because even I forgot. I'm like, oh, I thought we got these two right. Well, yeah, we did, but.
Right.
And then even then, when we came over here to day 2, it was mixed up, right? We had.
No, these were the two things we had correct.
Oh, and the klutz.
The klutz was now
Well,
correct.
that came from this, right? I'm just saying this was our guesses for day 2, and then that communicated over
right,
there,
but
right?
the 4 were 1, 2, 3, 4. We
Correct,
Had to,
sure.
We had to keep reminding ourselves.
Sure,
that those were the 4.
Correct, and I did not have her, but I had that fireplace, and I think Nikki maybe was. One of you basically said, well,
It
that
was yellow,
fireplace is
yeah.
yellow.
Yeah.
That could maybe be it, and that actually was it. That's why I
Right.
picked that. I mean,
And going back, right? That's when we started with that. We didn't
remember,
know.
those were switched, so...
Oh, they were.
Yeah, they were
that was my
Oh,
mistake.
oh, yeah.
Because
So-
I just handed them to
right.
Lincoln without thinking
Yeah.
twice about it. I didn't realize that was additionally important.
Well, that just
Right.
was our interpretation, but it seems to me like you kind of want to do that since there is a orientation for
Right.
the person in the
It
apartment.
does seem like a little extra help.
right.
Yeah.
So if you
does
choose
help.
to go
So yeah.
that.
So if we if this was here and we're on day 3, we should go back, right? Yellow,
Right.
yellow, yellow. It should be obvious
Yeah.
at
Right.
that point what you're trying to
Yeah,
portray.
the buildup of information is great. The
The
ability
cop was the
to...
thief.
The ability... Yeah.
I tried.
Why not?
Like-
Hey, listen. If you made the assumptions that this was right and this was right, that means you knew it was not the orange character and it was not the cop. I mean, that ruled out 2, 3, 4, 5. So you had fewer choices as you went.
Right.
This was, I like the building on the previous information, which this game I feel like does better than Mysterium and games
I
like
agree.
that, because part of the problem with Mysterium is you're never quite sure of what you're supposed to be focusing on. That's also what makes the game kind of fun. This has a more of a narrowing down quality to it.
Sure.
So to look ahead. So I think if we got day 3 wrong, I think I would probably looked at the Globetrotter for the Lieutenant Doyle. I think that was the one that we didn't really know.
I mean,
Right.
Nikki was right off the bat said that that's all there. So
Well, this was so this was great. Mike's like, well, da 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 da, and there's these photographs. Blah, 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 put them down. I'm like, okay, he said the word photographs. Did anyone hear Mike say
No, I didn't.
photographs?
I don't think so.
Right, he said it out loud, right?
I heard him say photographs.
I didn't.
These photographs, and I'm like, okay, come on.
I
And-
thought it
Right.
was a party, and that
Yeah.
those are
Right,
things that weren't
right.
like a name hanging back.
And
there.
then you're like, well,
Extreme,
heartbroken,
extreme.
and this is broken. I'm like, well, that's pretty good. I mean, that's it. That's not beyond something I would try pulling off, right? I
Right.
mean, I thought that was kind of cool. And then you're like, well, maybe we should just think. I'm like, please choose this. I thought for sure you almost chose this card, and it was just like, well, all I was gonna do is this.
I know, and that's why I had to talk it out.
No, it was
out
so
on
great.
it.
I'm like, you did everything right, but you just danced
well,
around
that
it
was
the whole time.
that was why I had said, this is what I wanted to ask about was this
Yeah.
card, because I was like, is it if it's the heartbroken thing, then you'll
Yeah,
point
of
at
course.
that. That's why I thought
Yeah.
that was one. I'm like, And Mike's like talking about that card. I'm like,
It was fantastic. You all got there eventually.
Yeah.
But you know how it is. We've all been in this position
Oh, yeah.
where you
Yeah.
just hear the people like, don't talk yourself out of it.
Yeah. Well, when you were going window, I thought it's an apartment. No, you're right. It's
No,
each
of these
one
is a
window,
window,
right?
yeah.
So I was just assuming D, and you're like, pick one, Mike.
Right.
I didn't get that far.
No.
right.
No, I was just saying if we only got 7, I think we needed to figure out. And let's say the Globetrotter was incorrect, we would
Right.
probably use that on day 4.
Sure.
That's why I'm going for if on day 4. That's what I think we would have.
Did you guys ever feel the murderer tension?
No. I didn't. I felt that you were so helpful with your card giving that there was no murderer. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe my body language.
If
as
you were
well
doing
or
a bunch
something?
of flipping stuff down so that you conceal stuff, then what would we
Yeah.
know?
I think if we would have known you would have been a murderer or at least 70 if we went from 2 here and we had either 2 or 3 or something.
Well,
here.
remember, we do need to get correct answers.
Right. If there is a murderer, I can't win unless you guys still get. You still have to get 6 or 7 correct, and not the murderer.
Right.
So you have to place the murder attribute in the wrong place, or not place it at all,
Right.
and still get 6 or 7 correct.
So then wouldn't you go back to the default that we assume there is no murderer?
I don't know. That's what I was asking. I mean, I was wondering on your side of the table.
I didn't-
Did you ever feel
No.
like the pressure of
here's
your
the thing.
decisions?
You were excited about our guessing. You were
Yeah.
organizing cards. I mean, I don't know what you could, but that's fine. I mean, I know how. I know a lot about how you play. Right? I mean, remember
So you're saying I didn't have a good
Obscurio,
poker face?
Obscurio.
Yeah.
And I was pegged as
Yeah.
the killer or whatever
That
that
was
was
so
supposed
great.
to be. And it turns out I was right. And Dave was the guy because he's like, when he was humming.
Yeah.
He
was
was
something
not
going
humming
on.
when he was like thinking or something like that. I
Yeah.
think is what it was.
When he was the bad guy trying to figure stuff out, he wasn't humming. But when he was a normal,
He's like, wow, wow.
wow.
So Dave, on your question, do we have the tension of the murderer? No. But I think it maybe become apparent on day 3 if we were
That's
totally
exactly
off.
how
I see what you're saying. So you weren't worrying about it initially, which makes sense. There's no reason to worry about it right away anyway, right?
Well, that was the only thing was this. I felt like I wasn't. That's why I was asking, like, what's going on here, right?
Yeah.
I don't see any connections, and that's where I thought this could be a murderer. That was the only time I thought potentially that's a murder if we can't figure out what this is now. Had I heard you say photographer, I don't remember exactly why I would have missed that. Probably
For what
because
it's
I was
worth,
talking.
had there been a murderer, I would have still been
Of course.
pre-laying out cards.
Sure, but
because
you seemed a little more gleeful. I mean, I've known you a long time, so it was like now you would be gleeful probably with the murder too, but
Yes.
but I still feel like it just seemed like you were excited about it.
Yeah. Well, it was just fun to listen to you guys, right? I mean, so here are the advanced attributes that we didn't use.
Okay.
Oh
And
wow!
for the advanced attributes, you put a character on them.
Oh,
So, for example, it has to be an unused character. So in this case, if this was this attribute,
they would be dining with.
it would be a 5th character.
Those are difficult.
So you would have to not only know which of the attributes, is it arguing with, breaking up with, making a deal with, playing games with, and then you'd have to get the correct person for that as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, it
Wow.
makes it a lot harder.
Wow.
Very difficult.
That's why they're the advanced ones.
Yeah.
And that's why we didn't start playing with them right
Those
away.
are-
Although
those are-
we did it by day 3, which was nice.
That is really cool. I mean, I thought I wasn't when you were joyful too when we got that joke.
I was so excited. Well, only because I had that classic moment in these games where you're listening to the players like, okay, that's
them.
right, don't talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
don't talk
yeah.
yourself out of it.
Oh man.
We did that. We
Make
did
the
that
right
with.
choice.
Actually, I think we did okay on. So Clover is one of those
Yeah.
deals where there's lots of talking about it.
Yeah, and
it was
talking
Deborah
yourself
was doing
out of it,
something.
and you're like,
the sewing group or something. She was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you said that." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like hearing them key in on what you were talking
Yeah.
about. It's like Dave excited that Nikki saw the travel stuff, right? You know.
Yes.
It's like a huge.
Well,
huge-
when I
yeah.
saw this airplane, I'm like, oh, I don't know what cards are in this deck. That made me very excited. I'm like, someone will see that.
That's good. Well, then it got paired with the travel, the luggage. We
Right.
were on the money.
Right.
What do you? I mean, do you think this is a successful kind of implementation of this system? I mean, is it maybe one of the. I feel
Well,
it's one of the more exciting ones. For
Here's
me.
what I can tell you.
I mean, it's not the same as Obscurio or Mysterium.
From the director point of view, here's what I like about it. I like that I was able to plan my next turn while you guys were taking yours.
Yes.
Okay.
So that it wasn't a question of wait, see what you do, and now I have to react to that.
Right.
So that was a time saver on this side
I like
of the
the
board.
days. This
Yeah.
is like a huge thing for
Right,
to
and you
me.
said you even moved the cards around when you saw us going one direction or not.
Right.
So
I'm
I
like,
think
oh,
that's-
okay, they think this. Okay, well, I'll do that. And I think it's very smart. You can only turn 2 face down because you're not always going to get a bunch of great cards.
Right.
Right.
Even when
Yeah.
you discard to draw more cards, you might not
Right.
get great cards. Especially more difficult if you're playing with these advanced
Yeah, those seem challenging for sure.
attributes. And I like that your previous information is on the board. Like
Yeah.
it's like those book logic games where you have a piece of paper and a pencil and a special sheet,
Right.
and you're doing like little bookkeeping things. Where in this case, the bookkeeping is visual and it's right here in front of you. I think that's really neat.
Yeah, I mean the day thing is the thing that I like the most about it. That was why, like I'm saying, where's the connection, right? I like being able to clearly see that it's this window and this window. There's not like you're dealing with the things in this
Yeah.
compartment, which
Right.
I really
Yes.
like. Not like, what is this whole thing telling me? Does
Yeah.
this apply to this area? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Correct. Correct.
Which is, probably more family friendly. That's one of the things about Funko Prospero Hall. They are trying to do, not just family, but this is to me a family friendly style game of this for sure. That
It's more approachable.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Plus, the whole art style is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this rule book.
Yeah, that's the
Like-
photo
Yeah.
from the movie that he gets his.
But I mean, it's like a
taking that
fake
picture.
magazine,
Right. Yeah.
right? It's really with the little ad for
Pan Am.
Pan on the
pretty
back
good,
and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it's all really nicely done. I mean, they really put a lot of thought into
Right.
this. It's neat.
Yes, the theme is really well done. It feels like that we were back in the right time.
Okay. Well, thanks for teaching us, Dave.
You're welcome, Lincoln.
And thanks to you for watching. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and consider subscribing to our channel. If you click on the bell, you get notified when we put up new videos. See you next time.